Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Life Stripes with Kathy and Duke. Today we have with us Miss Audrey Campbell. Audrey, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Audrey is the former president of the Jamaican Canadian Association, otherwise known as the JCA, and also the former co-chair of the Police and Community Engagement Review, otherwise known as PACER. So,
That's
Audrey,
right.
can you please tell us a little bit about both of these organizations?
Okay, the one closest to my heart is the Jamaican Canadian Association, 58-year-old organization, started by a handful of Jamaicans with the strength and fortitude to make changes in a new country. And the JCA started in 1962, right after Jamaica got its independence from colonialism. So I was the president for 5 years. Fourth female president in the JCA's 58-year history.
Nice.
And managed to change the organizational structure during my tenure. So I'm pretty proud of that. In terms of the Police and Community Engagement Review, known as PACER, and your podcast is like the first place I'm talking about this work.
Wow.
Never talked about it while I was doing it because...
Exclusive.
What? Exclusive, because I've never talked about the work.
Yeah.
Because it was just too important to publicize it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at a table with police officers of every rank, when you're at the table and then the other side of the table are stakeholders, agencies, Ontario Human Rights Commission, the Privacy Commission, you have CAMH, you have all of these people at the table, and you wanted to make sure that you had their trust, that these 31 recommendations that came out of everybody's time and sweat and consultation, that we were focused on making sure this 63-year-old Titanic, that we were able to shift it and get some of those changes implemented. And I'm pretty grateful because we got 90% of them done.
Can you give us an example of one, even just one?
One of them
that you're most proud of.
The police officers are going to cringe at this one. One of the things that we were tasked with was looking at police training. Right?
Interesting.
So,
I got some questions about police training.
What year was this, Audrey?
Hold up. We had questions about police training.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much, Duke.
All right.
This was 2015, 2016.
So it's been a while. Okay.
Because we even looked at body-worn cameras. We even looked at body-worn cameras.
Really?
But in any case, so the training piece, right? So we always heard about behavior, right? People were turned off by the behavior, the approach.
Yeah.
So we said, you guys say you have training videos. Can we see them? And at one of the meetings, you know, the officer that was presenting, the superintendent said, we don't have enough time. These meetings are only 2 hours. So I said, well, how long's the video? He said, 2 minutes. I said, trust me, we can find 2 minutes. When they played this video, it was a scenario down on Bloor Street. You see the officers rolling up to a call. They go in. You see the owner of the store saying, I want him out. He's loitering. I don't want to see it. The camera pans. And what do you see but a black man? Right?
Hence why he didn't want to show you.
Before I could even say anything, or any of the other black people at the table could say anything, the guy from the Ontario Human Rights Commission, he's now retired, sweet old dude, Bob Sherman. All of a sudden I heard over my shoulder, Jesus! No wonder they're shooting black people.
Oh,
they're trained to look for them as the criminals when they go into the space.
Yeah.
So after that big revelation, we were granted access to the Toronto Police College down on Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to observe every aspect of the training. And we were able to insert, scenario training, actual role playing. And at that point, you could see the officers where the behavior was normal. You could tell when they're out dealing with people. And we did all sorts of scenarios, mental health situations. And you could see the ones that were compassionate and and then you saw the ones that you knew were going to be on YouTube video someplace. You knew those ones.
Here's the thing. How did they pass the psych evaluation? Those ones. Yeah. That's what I want to know.
Here's the thing, my friends, that I can talk about now. The Toronto Police Service has an annual training, right? It's a 2-day training. We managed to get make it 3 days, right? Mm-hmm. But the training, they would go in and they'd have to requalify for their weapons and use of force. There was no evaluation. One of the things that came out of, remember when Frasillo shot Sammy Ateem on the streetcar?
Yes.
Right? And they were looking for the records for training.
There's none.
They just started it, right? I can talk about it now.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah. So all of that, we even got them to get rid of those homemade videos they were making and invest, I think it was $250,000 into a simulation machine. Okay. Where you could program different scenarios with different ethnicities and all sorts of things. And I actually took one of my cute seniors from JCA because she always wanted to be a police officer. So we took her down there. Chief Saunders allowed me to take her down for a tour, and we saw the simulation machine, and we were doing it. And it was a mental health situation, and it was these white people. And listen, the way that scenario played so quickly, even I screamed when that bullet flew past my head.
Wow.
So we were very proud of that. The targets were no longer black. Good. Right? They were different color. We one of the things I'm not happy about is that we never got to do the Know Your Rights video. There was supposed to be a whole Know Your Rights campaign that never occurred. The province, they're culpable as well. They were supposed to do it, and they didn't do it.
So is that something you would look into doing now?
Actually, what we're doing right now is we're bringing back some of these, looking at the recommendations that didn't go through, and we're starting to advocate and push the government, push TPS to look at that. The end of carding.
Yeah.
The end of carding. The regulation 5816, which talks to community interaction.
Right.
That is based on the work we did at the PACER table, because the province came to our meeting, took our template and then augmented it, watered it down to what it was.
Is this PACER table still going on? Is that something that's still?
No. It was, when we signed on, it was for 3 years, and it was under Deputy Chief Peter Slowly, right? Okay. Chief Blair signed off on it. Deputy Chief Peter Slowly was the sponsor. When Chief Saunders took over, to his credit, he supported the work that we were doing as well. There was no rolling it back, but we had an end date. I know that at one point Mayor Tory had said, I wish you guys would stay on forever, right? But listen, free work, no. 3 years was it.
Actually, you got to get paid. We
even stretched it to 4 years. Wow. We stretched it to 4 years because one of the things I was passionate about was a community survey piece.
Yeah.
And their idea of checking the box on the community survey was they do an annual phone survey every year. And would you believe that every year they get a really good percentage of they get a great report every year from the phone survey. So we said, no, that's not good enough. So we stayed a little longer, formed a subcommittee that did an in-depth in-person survey. Mm-hmm. And my friend Gervin Ferron, who's the president of Brock University, who is a real cool dude. Don't let the title fool you. He is real folk. You should interview him sometime. He is so great. He is so grounded. He is so grounded. Him and his research partner Carlisle Farrell, they did the work for me at a cheap price. At a very cheap price.
So I have a question for you. I know that Justice Michael Tulloch, he did the review for the police oversights and also for street checks. So did whatever with PACER and whatnot, was that in alignment with that? Was it separate completely? Did you consult with him?
You know what, Justice Tulloch, he met with parts of our group, but his was more in depth. Right. Okay. His study was, and you know what kills me? His recommendations, everybody was in line with them. The government supported it. It was just a matter of rolling it out. And unfortunately, we changed governments. Yeah. And the conservative government did not support it.
Right.
There were changes in there to the SIU that should have been done. Don't let anybody ever tell you that we need to be studied some more. These lab rats are done.
Yeah.
We have been studied and overstudied. It's a matter of getting these studies. Implementation. And I'm telling everybody that listens, you're not going to get any of that without political influence or economic power.
Yes.
And that's the thing, though.
I'm telling you.
That's the issue, though.
Yeah.
The implementation part is hard to get by when your government changes and you have one party that's all for it, and then you have another party that's not for it, and they don't see it in their financial fiscal year agenda, right? So it's so hard for change to happen in Canada with that type of movement.
It's funny you say fiscal year agenda. Could it also be personal agenda?
It is always an agenda.
Always.
I'm just imparting so much wisdom on YouTube today. Listen, the political influence is not that difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
Go vote. Get your friends to vote.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Your vote matters. Some candidates get in with 10 votes.
Yes.
When something is wrong and you call to complain, you don't think they check if you're on the registry?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you talking about Pacers and JCA. I think, to be honest with you, I think we need a black party, to be honest.
Listen.
Audrey, you up for it?
No, but I don't like politics. You know what? The problem is I don't like politics because he who pays the piper calls the tune. And there is always.
That's true. You're almost like a puppet. I hear what you're saying. I just
think that we need a seat at the table.
We can have that seat at the table if we start focusing.
Right.
Our vote is worth a ton.
A lot.
I'm telling you that. Politicians, if they knew that you could pull them, if they knew, they don't mess with the Muslims, they don't mess with the Sikhs because they know that if they tell you they're going to remove you, they will organize and remove you. They will vote in blocks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If we took it upon ourselves, a few years ago, I was part of a group. We nicknamed ourselves the Breakfast Club because we love food. And on this part of this team was.
Wasn't off of the movie?
No. Get that movie. We're about food. Bring the food and we're there.
Exactly.
And we created a white paper called A Vision Towards the Black Community.
Okay.
Right? And it was literally a roadmap. It was, Gervin, Farron, Hamlin Grange, Peter Slowly, Mitzi Hunter before she became a politician, myself, Danielle Dowdy, Mark Beckles, right? And Sharon Shelton, she was the ED at Tropicana.
All right.
And we put together this paper, and it was based on, because Gervin is a stats nut. So he put together all the stats of where we are as a Black community in terms of economics, housing, transit, all these areas. And it showed where we were lagging behind. And if we took that roadmap, and a lot of EDs took this information, then they lobbied for funding and so forth. But there was also a pledge at the end. And the pledge asked every Black person, number one, spend some money in your community. That's building economic wealth,
100%.
right? If you're gonna spend $20 for groceries, spend 10 at Metro and spend 10 in your community.
Right.
Right? That's number one. Vote. Municipally, provincially, federally. When they know your vote is worth something, they will bow to your political will.
Power. Yes.
We have been wasting our power. We have it in our hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know the thing though? I don't find that a lot of the Black community know the power of voting. Like they don't understand how it works. Like I watch a lot of YouTube, and I was watching I don't know if you know this girl Candace Owens, and she's like,
don't get me started on Candace Owens, okay?
So Candace Owens, I don't even think she likes Black people, but
I don't think she likes herself.
She does not.
But so she was on a panel with T.I. and Killer Mike.
Saw it.
Yeah,
saw it.
Really great panel, right?
I love Killer Mike.
Me too.
Killer Mike broke it down.
Right? And that was P. Diddy put that together because it was the Volt Summit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about, you know, political views and the importance of voting and, you know, the importance of Black community and stuff like that, right? And we don't have anything that goes on in Canada for our Black youth to like understand it.
Well, you know what? Let's start.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm bringing it up. Because we don't have something like that.
Start with your circle.
Yeah.
Start with your circle.
Yeah. I actually
start with your circle. It's not that
I was
difficult.
talking to a friend today, and she was telling me about, like, you know, using the N-word. Like, you know, Black people shouldn't use the N-word. And I'm like, you know what? I agree with you 100%. Like, we should not.
I do too.
Like that, right?
It's not cute.
But I was like, okay, if this is your problem and you're so mad about people using it, speak up about it. Like, start talking about it.
It's listen to me. Change is not that difficult. You just have to start.
Yeah.
I give an example. We have a problem in the schools, right? Our children are not being educated properly. Right? They're being ignored in the classes. They need help reading. A lot of them are illiterate at such a young age. And when my mom was 70 years old, she decided to go to the primary school behind their house. And she got a form, because she got the flyer that says, we need volunteers to help the kids to read. She filled out the form, found herself at the police station, got her own police check done. And she has been doing this for over 10 years.
Wow.
She has impacted the lives of hundreds of children.
Wow.
Nice.
Because she tells the story of one little boy when she would go to the class and the teacher would say, can you help Andrew to read, for an example? And he'd cry, I don't want to read. I'm going to be a boxer. And, you know, my mom, you know, and always political correct. You're going to be a dummy. You can't read. Right? And she got him. He bawled his eyes out. She said, you're not moving till you read A, B, and C. So she worked with him.
Yeah.
And about at the end of the school year, she was just, you know, getting herself together. This little boy comes and brings his mother. It says, Mommy, this is Mrs. Campbell. She taught me to read. I want to go to college.
Nice.
Wow.
That is just one story. So imagine if everybody, and my mom worked in a factory all her life, standing on her feet. She's not an educator. She's not a professional. She's the dream. She came, her and my dad came from Jamaica, worked their butts off, bought their house. They're retired. They've worked hard.
Yeah.
It does not take a lot to move the needle. You just need to do something.
Yeah.
Well, like
right? I'm tired. That's why I don't want to hear nobody's excuses.
You're right.
Like I said before, you just have to start.
Just have to start. If you know 2 people that you know they don't vote, then get on them. JCA started running this this workshop called So You Think You Can Run, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and you guys keep in touch because we can do stuff with that, right?
Now let me just to clarify, it is not just for Jamaicans, because
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's for anybody who shares our values.
Okay.
Because when the JCA was formed, they advocated for all.
Okay.
All people of color, all people from different Caribbean areas, Africa, whatever it is. And I'm proud to say that they were at the center of a lot of social change. Roy Williams, the very first president of the JCA in 1962, was also the first person of color on the Toronto Police Services Board back in the 80s. Wow. So he wasn't fighting for Jamaicans alone because, hey, listen, we have this saying in Jamaica, today for you, tomorrow for me. So whatever's going to affect you is going to affect me.
Yeah,
fair.
So let's not fool ourselves. So when it came to for housing, when they came, nobody was renting to Black people.
Yeah.
Right? They fought for that. They could not eat. They tell stories of going to restaurants, sitting down and never getting served.
And this is in Canada.
That's still happening up in some of these northern towns.
And people seem to think that racism doesn't exist in Canada. So I'm very happy you're pointing this out.
Well, I mean, if you watch the news lately, there was 2 nooses hung up.
Yeah. Did you see what Emily Mills just went through? You know Emily Mills, who used to be at CBC. She does How She Hustles.
Yeah.
It's on Twitter. Just 6 days ago, she's sitting outside of her building, just trying to get some air, talking to one of her friends who happened to be Caucasian. And this woman comes out of comes out of nowhere. What are you doing here, you effing black bitch, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That was 6 days ago.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Get out. And I've had friends who've encountered things like that. It does exist.
Oh, we know it exists.
It
It's
exists.
everybody else who doesn't think it exists, but we know it exists.
It exists. I always say, like, I actually appreciate the racism in America more than Canada, because they'll tell you to their face they don't like you, you know, and in Canada it's behind your back.
Well, clearly not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Now everybody's just getting bold.
They, but you know, we're not Americans, so I keep saying, don't mess with the wrong Negro. You will not like it.
They're as my friend there on all over the internet. I don't even know who she is, but she's brilliant. She says, "You are just lucky we want equality and we do not want revenge."
Didn't you love her though?
What? Phenomenal.
I loved her, and
Phenomenal.
I love Tamika. What's her name? Tamika Sherman as well.
Stuff like that. But
I love those two.
Yeah.
I love those two. But it's happening.
Yeah.